Hello, good evening, good evening, good evening, welcome to Kayaking for Autism's channel. Today I'm making a demonstration of my farm. I've made these growing plants and they grow nicely, and I'm going to demonstrate to you my crop that's all growing up. You see that? I've got all of these seeds coming up. Hey, look, isn't that wonderful? I've got all these plants growing up and they've got these different stages of growth. 64 stages in fact, because I've managed to fit a total of 64 256 by 256 little images inside this 2048 by 2048 image, and I've managed to use offset transforms in order to make it look like these plants are growing. They are basically just sprites, animated sprites basically, but oh well. To make these growing plants, I thought it was quite cool, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when they reach peak growth, you'll see some watermelons appear. Okay, and here we go. And then once you reach there, you look at Alt F2, it should say melon ready for harvest. And it's told me that I've got some melons ready. So yum yum! All these watermelons ready to eat. Yum yum yum! And the other cool thing is, if you wait for long enough, yeah, if you leave it long enough, and you don't do it, water them or whatever, yeah, that's right. And you go back to Alt F2 again. It says plant has reached peak growth. Plant has wilted and died. Oh dear! So it means you didn't harvest your melons long enough, and they just turn into these very sad, sorry for themselves looking wilts. Show you in daytime, there we go. So yeah, they've all wilted and died, oh dear. Well, I'll have a quick look at the code that allowed me to work. Okay, and we are now back to here. And basically here's how the code works. Just a shitload of if statements. So I've got this module here, biodome module Bravo, which is just a test bed to make things work. I've got some bools: grow start, light switch, harvestable, grow stage, grow time, and grow start time. And it's in the fixed update. And I've got a little starter code. So that means grow start is true, and grow start is defined in the config. And if grow start is true, let's say grow start time is plant area not get a universal time, which just gives me a reference of when the time has started. And I say that the grow stage is equals 1, grow start is false now, so that it doesn't go back to here again the next time it does an update, and harvestable is false, so that means you can't harvest it. I haven't done anything with harvestable yet other than to say that when you've got a fully grown melon, it can later be harvested. Then the grow time equals the plant area get universal time minus the start time, which tells me every time it updates, it tells me how many seconds it's been since we started growing. And then if light switch equals true, if the grow time is greater than 5, and the grow stage is just 1, and the grow time is greater than 10, it'll transform the model and change the offset of the texture. And it seems to me that because it's, there's 8 by 8 squares, as long as it's minus 0.125f, it'll work. As long as this is a perfect square. In fact, you could use a 1024 by 1024 image, and this code would actually still work. Or you could use a 512 by 512, and it would also still work. 4096, I'm not sure. I think there are limitations to 2048, 248, so I just did the maximum that I think I was able to work with. And basically it just says grow stage plus plus, and then it changes, and then you can change all these values about, so every 150 seconds, 200 seconds, 250 seconds it grows a bit. And I don't know, if you could play around with these values if you wanted to, you could make it grow more slowly if you wanted it to. You could put O's at the end of each of these. No reason why not. And it transforms around here. Until it gets right to the very end, which is the 63rd one, and then finally it says at 62, which is the penultimate one, it says melon ready for harvest, and then there's a big gap of time between this grow time and this grow time, between grow stage 62 and 63, and then it splits the light switch is false. And I also wanted to say basically harvestable equals false as well, because you've left it too long, and obviously the melons aren't ripe anymore. They're not tasty anymore. You wouldn't want to eat them anymore. They've rotted. Yeah, you'd get sick if you ate that. Okay, I want to show you what we've done in Blender and what we've done in Paintshop Pro next. Okay, so here I was showing you, this is the 2048 by 2048 image, and it's the complete life cycle of the plant, and it starts here with a little seedling, and it goes vertically, it goes down this way, then starts at this column, and then it goes to row 2, and then goes down, then goes to the top of column 3, and then goes down row by row, until eventually you get to here, and then you get to a massive melon. Oh, I do like your juicy melons, Miss Curry. And then the last one in this, the last corner here is the wilted and died one, and I've reserved that for a dead plant. And I'm thinking maybe, you know, if you haven't had enough water, or if you haven't had enough potash, nitrate, or phosphate, then this image comes up, and you have to just send the harvester to just clear it away, and you don't get any points for it. In fact, if anything, you just wasted energy to get rid of it because you got it wrong. I mean, this is part of the off-world farming game I'm trying to build. And the trick here is if you try and have multiple instances of this in multiple instances of these objects in Unity, the code just won't work. But there's no reason why you can't have them all on one grid, you know, all on one object, and then just have lots of these different squares that are all part of the same object, and they're all mapped to this same object, the same square here. And as long as they're roughly 256, 256 in the start of the top left-hand corner, it should work. And I think I've demonstrated before how the offsetting works, but I'll show you that now quickly. And here we are back in Unity, and here's the watermelon final. And as you can see, I've got a whole batch of 5 watermelons in a row here. And basically, if you look at this offset again, if I say 0.125, it goes to that one. If I say 0.25, it goes to that one. If it goes to 0.375, it goes to that one. 0.5, 0.625, 0.75, and finally 825, 875 even. There we go. So you see, that's on the row settings. But if I went to 0.875, and I went right down to the very end here, 0.75. What is it, minus 0.75? Minus 0.75? There we go, there's the watermelon. Okay, and obviously if I went to 0.875, it's dead. You see? So the last one, 875, minus 875, is always reserved for the plant has died. And I've decided that just to keep that, and obviously the one before then, minus 0.75, is the one when the plant is in its peak stage of growth and is ready to harvest. And anything else up to that point is just the plant growing slowly over time in the biodome, or well, one of your own space projects of your own that you wish to do, because I intend to release this as a totally modular, and I was having thoughts about doing a terraforming mod where the code just sort of like spawns more of itself once it's reached the seed, and then it generates 2 more of itself, and then kills itself off, and then so on and so forth, and you just get this forestation that just generates itself, and you just get a self-spawning code. I had thoughts about it, but I think that if you have too many of these objects on the go at once, it will just cause the whole game to go chug 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 chug. But yeah, I finished the watermelon. Let me know what plant you want next. I've heard suggestions for a sunflower. I was thinking about doing strawberries next, maybe, or I was thinking about maybe doing lettuces or something like that. I just want to get all the foods that you can think of to be there in the game, so that you can grow them and you can put them in your ship and watch them grow. And I'll do some other fancy code at a later stage. Thanks very much for watching, and special thanks to Crujan for getting it working, and Maya sends her regards, and Lexi sends her regards. And that's it from Kayaking Forces channel, so stay tuned for more.